we'll have to push a lot to Tuesday's show. I've realized that now at this point, based on just where we are, and as much as we'll be so inundated on Mondays with the NFL, once the big sport like the NBA Finals is over, World Series, I'm sure, is over, then we'll have a little more freedom to stretch. But, for example, today, we'll have to throw Jimmy Butler in before we throw something that happened, even though it was a gigantic loss in the top five, that out first. But last night, first and foremost, into earlier in the day, if you want to work in reverse chronological order, was amazing. And here's why. The NFL has set this thing up where you saw a bunch of backups go at it last night. But think about how that was just dressed up and the presentation of it. Sunday Night Football is a machine. We know that, a ratings machine. But that thing went off and they even presented it ahead of time like it was a real Niners-Eagles game. You know, everybody's healthy and full strength, and you can truly get a gauge of who's who on there. Philadelphia Eagles, one of the bigger dogs, clearly not the biggest, as we saw the Washington team push and the Giants cover that ridiculous game against the Rams. But the Philadelphia Eagles were probably one of the most maligned teams that had a 7+ spread on them, mainly because it's a foregone conclusion that Washington is a disaster and New York is even worse. It's not a big shock that at 12.5, 13, even Washington and Baltimore, which kind of fluctuated 13.5 back to 14, and then eventually that push, if you got it at 14, that's not a major shock. I'm more surprised the Eagles opened up as an 8-point road dog. It's down to 7, depending on where you get it. 8-point road dog against Pittsburgh, more than I was. Remember, they opened up again as a 6-point dog on the road initially when this thing first came out on Monday. Niners were a 6-point home favorite. I know because I placed a unit on them right away, thinking this thing would go up, and went up 3 points, closed at 9. I don't know how sustainable this is. You know, a normal talk show, LCD talk show on an LCD network would start to gauge your feelings on it. You know, the beauty of what we all do here, from Sean, me, John, and everybody else, is you add numbers, but it's not just data. I think a lot of times in the sports betting world, you've got numbers that support story, support narrative. And what you saw yesterday was nothing special. It was just the Niners were more banged up in key areas. Think about this. The Niners, normally healthy on the defensive line, would have shredded that turnstile of offensive linemen. Matt Pryor, of course, comes to mind. Yeah, Jordan. Think about the immediate extraction of what people saw versus trying to push that over a span of 4 to 8 weeks. Charles Barkley has said a lot of things that I'm sure resonate with you. One of the things that I'll always go back to, and this wasn't even like trying to be foolish or funny or poking any type of holes at Shaq. This was in a legit conversation, a back and forth conversation years ago, where that stat was brought up per 36 minutes, where the idea is if you took a guy who was playing 9 to 10 minutes and extrapolated that over the course of 36 minutes a night, this is what he'd get. This is what he'd put up. These are his numbers. And we do this in the NFL way too much. And it's going to happen, if it hasn't already, with the offensive line. Jordan Mailata, for example, the fact that the Philadelphia Eagles got lucky with a bunch of practice squad guys or guys who couldn't make it elsewhere. And it's not a negative to them. They busted their tail. Fulgham deserves a medal for his performance, just stepping on the field, being like, hey, they can't get me. Mouse in the house, just throw me the ball. It's no knock on them. They're fighting for their jobs. They're fighting for their careers as guys who are on the bottom and get overlooked constantly. This is an opportunity to do it. But let's be fair. If we're talking about a level of success that's expected from this team, that's not necessarily sustainable. I don't know how you could say a guy who's making his first start at left tackle would be sustainable. I don't know how you could look at what happened where Greg Ward is the senior receiver, the veteran receiver on a squad of guys that most fans couldn't pick out in a lineup. Fulgham comes in huge. That's late. That's not a sustainable effort as far as not from him, but as far as a team just getting above and beyond performances to the point at which you're going to go out and beat Baltimore. Sounds like major injury with the Ravens. And what happens is, and Barkley responded like he didn't even miss a beat and basically said, you can miss me with the per 36 because there's a reason why a guy's playing 9 minutes and not 36 minutes. We've seen a 9-minute performance off the bench from Jordan Mailata, who is now charged with protecting a guy who has already been banged up multiple times over in his career's blindsiding Carson Wentz. Against a team who probably, and I can't say definitely, but probably if they started their third-string quarterback instead of their second-string quarterback, would have won the game. Now, who knows how much defense would be different in the back end, but you saw at the very least C.J. Beathard make throws that the other guy, Mullins, could not. This was a win. It was a win in the NFL. Bad teams get wins. If you're not 1-2-1 coming into this game, you're 2-1-1 or you're 3-1, then yeah, you feel better about it because it's part of a bigger picture. Nobody knows what this bigger picture is right now with the Philadelphia Eagles. It's like a 1,000-piece puzzle, and you're just sitting there with 3 pieces. You expect to figure out what this is? What do you think? You're one of these contestants on Wheel of Fortune who can get the puzzle after 1 letter? You know exactly what the Philadelphia Eagles are right now at 1-2-1 with one of those losses coming to Washington and the tie coming to Cincinnati and the win coming against Nick Mullins and a banged up 49ers defense. Nobody's saying that they should be this or they should be that. What I am saying is nobody has any idea what this Philadelphia Eagles team is. Nobody. You can guess. You can maybe try and figure it out in your head, do the math in your head. Well, and I'm not even talking about if they win or lose, but you can't go into Pittsburgh. You can't go into Baltimore, any of these games, and say now after 4 games, well, the Eagles are going to win this or lose this. You have no idea. They had a great opportunity in front of them, and they took full advantage of it. And you know what? You have to give the nod. Just exceptional idea right there by Doug Peterson with the game plan, as well as what you saw from Jim Schwartz on defense. And then the execution is what makes it a sandwich. So awesome job by the Philadelphia Eagles to take advantage of the situation. But how can you ignore a situation if somebody's taking advantage of it? How do you even know that a situation has been taken advantage of if you don't even at least recognize the situation? It doesn't diminish. In fact, look at the Rams. All right, let's just take a quick sec. What are the odds? Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler, presented by Cure Auto Insurance. I'm Eitan Shander. Newey Scruggs down in Dallas. We'll chat with Newey. He's on TV until 6:30, so we'll pull him right off the set, get his thoughts on the NFC East futures. But look at what happened with the Rams. You could have very easily, if you're Doug Peterson and Jim Schwartz, if you're Fulgham to LeBlanc to anybody in between, Singleton, Carson Wentz, Miles Sanders, and I don't know what's going on late in the game. He should have been out there, but that aside, if you're any of these guys, you could have easily let down. You could have easily just thought, well, we're banged up, but San Francisco's banged up as well. You could have let your guard down against worse competition, or at the very least equal competition right now in regards to this particular Eagles team, like the LA Rams did. The LA Rams, they 12.5-point favorite. They couldn't get anything offensively, at least, going against one, if not the worst defenses from a talent standpoint in the NFL. The Giants are so bad, embarrassingly bad when it comes to anything they can do on defense. And granted, their offense is not blowing off doors and anything to write home about either. It's just a matter of how can you struggle offensively. And the Eagles, because they were given an opportunity. See what I'm saying? The Rams were just gift-wrapped an opportunity. Here you go. It's the Giants. You don't even need to lift a finger. All you need to do is get in from your house to your car to the stadium, play the game. No issues about flying anywhere. You're hosting the Giants. Great opportunity to bounce back from a tight and possibly cheap, but I'm not going to say it. I will understand and probably listen to conversations about it, what happened in Buffalo with that bad penalty, but such is life in the NFL. These things happen. You get burned, you move on. Hopefully it happens in your favor next time around and it evens out. But you come off of that tight loss to Buffalo, you would think this would be a great opportunity to turn around and actually get something done, get something accomplished on offense, knowing the defense basically just has to show up in order to prevent the Giants from doing anything. And instead, it was a letdown, a major letdown. So the Philadelphia Eagles did not let down. But you can't take away from the fact that they were playing against a third, it looked like, if the guys were out, a banged-up Niners team that was missing a lot of people. A lot of people. Now, as far as this Steelers game, this 8-point line, 7-point line, depending on where you're looking at it. And I was on the Fox Bet app earlier playing a little slots. Got to stop doing that. And I saw plus 700 gets you plus 7 gets you a plus 100 return. You know, they're only 260 on the money line. You would think it might be a little higher, 290. Something along those lines. Pittsburgh is minus 333 on the money line. I'm not necessarily, and nor would I, at least not today. Now, looking at it, Eagles plus 7, I'd get in there as well. See what DraftKings has. But that's not I would not stay away from that. I imagine that it's probably going to cross down a little bit after the Eagles beat the Niners. Pittsburgh, of course, had an extra week, so they come off a really nice, easy bye week right now. And early in the season, that's great. Opened up, I saw this thing open up at 8. It must have been opened up at 8 for like 2 hours, if that, because it's pretty much consensus down to 7. So you've already lost a point of value here if you didn't jump on that right away, like just scouring and reloading. Cowboys laying 9 against the Giants at home. Oof, we'll talk to Newey about that in 14 minutes. But here's one I love. Indy laying 2.5 on the road against Cleveland. Everybody's going to be gassed up off the Browns doing anything they wanted on the ground has to be top 2 worst defense. I know the Cowboys at least are going to get some guys back at some point. The Giants aren't getting anything back. They're not getting hope. They're not getting a prayer. They're not getting a response. They're not getting anything back. Dallas, at the other hand, is going to get healthy at some point, especially during the push to the playoffs. But, man, a 9-point line for Dallas. You know, Eagles right now at plus 7 going into Pittsburgh after what we saw this past week. Nobody knows. Yeah, JCross _33 on Twitch, twitch.tv/Shander Show. Only thing I know, they aren't a playoff team right now. Absolutely agree with you on that. I think here's the thing. They're not a team that can do anything in the playoffs. They're not a team that's destined to make any run or do anything special in the playoffs, like win a game in the playoffs. I don't even care if they're hosting it. What they are, though, and this is what's bizarre, and you can't ignore it. This is why when I say that the water is murky and it's difficult to read, it doesn't mean that it's one way. I mean, if we knew definitively, and I'm not saying JCross _33, you're wrong. What I'm saying is is that by definition of what you're putting out there on Twitch, and I appreciate the love here, is they could theoretically still win this division. And by that, they would be in the playoffs, but not in a typical setting. That would be ridiculous. 4 straight years, you have Doug Peterson and Jim Schwartz make the playoffs. How could you even talk about firing any one of these guys? Look at the difference. And last thing before we even touch on that. Carson Wentz played much better, but he still didn't play well. Think about this. I want you to just try and comprehend that statement because I've been going back and forth on it myself. Carson Wentz played much better. Top 6, mind you. Astros just took the lead over the Athletics in game 1 of the ALDS, 6-5 right now. Carson Wentz played much better than what we've seen for the first 3 weeks of the season, but he still didn't play well. He was that bad. And I'm happy for him, like I'm happy for anybody and everybody on that team that they finally got a win. And it's going to feel a lot better now moving forward. And if it took 3,000 miles to get a victory, then it took 3,000 miles. But I also recognize there is still a lot more room for growth and improvement. And I'm not saying this to put it square on the shoulders of Carson Wentz. Hopefully people around him, coaching, right? Like the coaching around him recognizes it. People understand that, whoa, we need to continue to work with this young man and grow him into a better quarterback. Doesn't matter if he has a revolving door of wide receivers here. We still need to grow him. He needs to get better from a technical standpoint, from a presence standpoint, from an accuracy standpoint, from all of these things. But you can't do him 0 solids at that point and expect him to turn around into this amazing quarterback. Yeah, here's another one. Everything comes back to the Eagles. All roads lead back to Philadelphia. But here's another one. Josh Allen. What the hell happened to Josh Allen? Does anybody have any idea? I see you still on there, Jay Cross. Maybe you have any idea. Anybody have any idea what the hell happened to Josh Allen? This guy last year was barely capable of hitting a 6 or 7 yard route. Barely. He was so inaccurate over 10 to 15 yards down the field that people were basically giving up on his ability to complete a pass. Not like, he's going to be poor percentage when it comes to those throws. More like, stop asking him to make those throws. Stop. One off season, the guy went from incapable of making throws. People were questioning whether or not he had it in his DNA, and so was I. And I could sit right there. I was lapping it up like, oh my goodness, how can Buffalo play? I'm sure I have one of these old tweets. I'm not important enough, especially after they got me on my Steve Kerr tweet for freezing cold takes to be monitoring left and right. But I'm sure there's an old Josh Allen tweet out there basically saying Buffalo ain't doing anything with this guy at the quarterback spot. And how could you disagree with that looking at him up until this year? Now, all of a sudden, I'm telling you, in one off season, he went through a growth spurt. It all happened to us or somebody we know. 6th grade, you go away for the summer. Maybe your family goes away for a couple of months, or you go away, visit other families somewhere else for a couple of months. Got to go visit the grandparents or aunt, uncle, or, the cousins, whoever it may be. Or you go on a vacation, or maybe you are fortunate enough to go to a camp, whatever it may be. You're away from your high school friends. You come back and one of your friends just grew 6 or 7 inches. Whoa. What just happened? All right, you're definitely playing center now. Sorry. You're stuck down there under the rim now. It happens. We see it all the time. Happened to me going into 7th grade. It happened to a couple of my friends going into 6th grade. So I was like, man, what's going on here? And then it happened to me over that summer. Still remember, grew 6 inches. A lot of people do that. And around that time, like middle school area. And before it happens, maybe you hear from your parents or somebody else, don't worry, kid, it's going to happen. But you think, like, there's just no way I'm going to be, this height, whatever the height is. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with whatever your height is. I'm just saying, if in fact you look at that and you think, all right, even if you only grow a couple of inches, that's fine. It's still, you're growing. And if it's gradual, you're still growing. But as a kid, if it doesn't come all in one, it's like it doesn't come at all. And you're thinking, well, maybe that's just me. Maybe I don't have it. I mean, I'm 6 foot. My mom is 5 foot. My dad is 5'11". So it's not like I come from parents who are taller and in some cases one that's a foot shorter. And there was a time in sixth grade, pardon me, where I was thinking, well, maybe that's it. I'm going to be this height and maybe grow a couple of inches, but that's it. And it's not going to come. That's what Josh Allen was. No, this guy's not going to grow. This is it. There's no growth, literally or in his game. That's it. You're not going to see. Don't expect anything special. And then J Cross _33. And I'm sure a great answer. Coaching is what happened. And they worked with him. They clearly worked with him. Overdrive worked with him. But here's the funny part about it is this wasn't even a typical offseason. Let's not forget. This wasn't even a typical offseason where you could work with everybody. So, yes, when it comes to Carson Wentz, there is still room for improvement. There's still some growth to be had out there. But, man, does that not give you some hope? Does it not give you just a little light to look at and think, Josh Allen, that guy? What the hell happened? How did this guy go from throwing the ball down at his feet to making some crisp? That guy yesterday made some unbelievable throws. In the course of one game, it took him like 2 years to make that type of throw. Now we're seeing it happen routinely in these games. And he's dangerous with his feet. So we already knew that he can move and he's a tough guy and he's able to throw the ball deep down the field. That's another thing. He wasn't able to do that. It's one thing to add Stephon Diggs, right? It's one thing to bring in a burner, and he's more than that. I mean, he's a complete wide receiver and he's a beast. It's one thing to bring in Stephon Diggs and just automatically on paper, or since you played him in Madden, think, man, this is going to be insane. Just watch, it's going to be Allen a day. He couldn't make that throw last year. That was the biggest weakness he had last year, was throwing the ball deep. And now, so you would think, well, yeah, even if Diggs gets behind somebody, which he probably can more often than not, even if a team doesn't really respect that as much because they don't know if Allen can make the throw, Allen's still making these throws. Carson Wentz can get better. I don't know if it's going to happen overnight. I don't know if it's going to happen from one off season to another. But we saw it happen with Josh Allen, and that should be enough to give you some hope. I think in its own right, that should truly be enough to give you or anybody else hope that it can be done. It's like one of these infomercials. And of course, they're going to take their best case scenario, the person that lost 75 pounds. Of course, they're going to take that up there. And then in the fine print, results aren't it for everybody. Results may vary. Anything they can do to prevent a lawsuit of somebody said, well, I took that pill too and I didn't lose any weight. They always have the fine print to protect themselves. Sometimes it's warranted. You shouldn't need fine print on a bottle of bleach to say don't drink, but here we are. So looking at any room for development, growth, this was an extreme example. But it's one that it's almost like, man, if it could work for him, it should be able to work for anybody. Huge day yesterday in the NFL. Awesome day. And yes, happy that the Eagles won. They're in first place. So we'll talk about this with Newy Scruggs coming up. Just about how likely it is the Dallas Cowboys win the division versus the Philadelphia Eagles, who repeat. Tom Brady yesterday, 5 touchdowns to 5 different receivers. First time in his career that he did that. 5 TDs in a game. You believe that? He's probably thinking to himself, man, this Josh McDaniels holding me back. It's also nice to throw to Mike Evans. Man, what must that feel like? Who do you think right now is loving life more? This is a serious question. Might even have to poll this. I don't know. But who do you think is enjoying life? And you know what? I'll stretch this out, okay? Like, let's really look at this across the board here. Tom Brady is living in Tampa. He's living in Florida. Tampa's pretty nice climate down there. He's living down there, married to Giselle. Now, I know they have a family. They've been married for a little bit, but he's doing all right for himself. Really, I mean, Giselle is the breadwinner, and Giselle is the international superstar, and you can make the argument that Giselle is kind of slumming, which is a pretty big statement for Brady in his own right, at least in his own world. Now, with that said, not only does he have all of that, but for the first time in his career, outside of 1 year with Randy Moss, he's got guys around him that he can throw, just fling it, effortless, and know that even if he makes a mistake, somebody's going to go up and grab that football. Just like when Chris Godwin comes back from that concussion and then lower injury, it's going to be the same thing. So you've got that, or you've got Russ. Now, Russ with Ciara, right? You also have a pretty cool situation for him where in a lot of entertainment worlds, she's slumming as well. Both are married to superstars that have more fame across the board. Think about this. In our world, we get caught in this all the time. Would you say, and I defer to you, Deja, here, but would you say that would be an accurate statement as far as, now I'm more confident on the Brady Giselle than I am with Russ Ciara, but I'm pretty sure that she still has a lot of cachet in the music entertainment world, to the point where, like, Giselle is an international model, and it's not just, people all over the world that know her from stuff online and shoots and all. I mean, she's just a mogul when it comes to everything in clothing and fashion, especially now that she creates and designs as well. So it's not even close that she dwarfs Tom Brady's stardom, if you will. And Brady is, the most famous, one of the most, outside of LeBron and maybe 2 other people in this country from a sports standpoint. Brady is definitely up there, top 3, I would think. Now, Russell Wilson is not as, this is why I say, because Russell Wilson is not as popular as Tom Brady, yet Ciara doesn't need to be as popular as Giselle for her to be more popular than Russell Wilson.
Right. I don't know much about Giselle. I've seen her before. I love her Instagram page. However, when it comes to Ciara, not to compare the two, but I just love Ciara because she's just more than a model,
Well, no, that's fine. I'm saying, as far as just in respect to their significant others, not to each other. Mm-hmm. Like, Giselle has been around forever. And that's another thing, is if you look at what she's been able to create as far as the international appeal, if you will, like, she's just been around forever. And I'm talking about more from across the world. But again, even when you look at with Russell Wilson's situation, he really doesn't have, like, Brady has at least crossed over into some area. Russell Wilson is pretty much just known for football, and that's pretty much it. Yeah. And being married to a more famous person.
I was going to say, because if I'm being honest, I've heard about Tom Brady before I ever heard about Russell Wilson.
Exactly.
Until he started dating Ciara. Then I'm like, oh, that's Russell. Oh, he plays for this team. Oh, okay, that's cool. And then it seemed like he started to be more into, like, the media afterwards. But I wasn't hearing about no Russell Wilson.
Right. And then all of a sudden he's married to a superstar, mm-hmm. and that adds a little more light on it. Yep. It's almost, now again, I'm not going to, he's not Tristan Thompson by any means. Oh, but when Tristan was with Khloe, this is crazy, right? I don't know if you know this. This was like 2 years ago. But Tristan Thompson, for the entire year, that year, he was with Khloe. he was the most Googled athlete across the country, and it wasn't even close. Like LeBron James, Tom Brady, right? All these people that come to mind. He dominated them in Google searches because of the Kardashians. So that's why I'm saying, like, Russell Wilson's celebrity status is owed, I would think, 90% to his wife.
Yeah.
Where Brady is probably more like 60%.
Yeah. I
but
agree.
both aren't at 50-50, and they sure as hell aren't more so than their respective significant others.
I agree 100%.
It's crazy, isn't that?
That's really crazy.
You don't see that a lot where the power couple, like, for example, the power couple, one person dominates the other person, but that other person is like super famous. Right now, again, it's no knock on somebody who's not famous or, is kind of just thrust into the fame scene here. But Brady is like the most successful quarterback of all time. And his celebrity from an international standpoint is dwarfed by his wife. And you could say the same thing about Russell Wilson, who at the very least is one of the most popular athletes in this country. Now, is his wife, is she still cranking stuff out?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. She's still performing, doing all types of stuff.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Just making sure. Not that it would, remove her from the conversation. Her celebrity is pretty standard right now, and it holds across the board. I don't even know how I got into this.
I don't know, but question. So Russell Wilson, I didn't know about him until he started dating Ciara, and that was like how many years ago? Maybe like, I don't even know, 5, 6 at this point?
The whole thing with Future, so you'd have to go back and look at that as far as when that whole thing began. Probably about 4. I mean, when did Future really start getting hot? Like 5, 6 years ago?
Yeah, and that was like they had kind of broken up at that point.
Oh, right. And the whole thing went back and forth about.
Yeah, then she ended up with Russell after like her son and everything. But so back then though, was Russell a big athlete? Because I don't know anything about him until he started dating her. So I'm like, to you, as someone who of course follows sports, was he big?
Yeah. So
Okay.
let's identify that. What year do you think?
I would have to say, what is it, 2020? I would think maybe about, let's just say 2016.
Yeah. So they were in the Super Bowl. I'll tell you the exact 2015. They had just lost the Super Bowl in 2015. That's after winning the Super Bowl before that. So think about it. This guy is red hot, and he just won, a Super Bowl. And then the year after that, they make it right back to the Super Bowl. Now they lose, and it's a whole big back and forth about what happened last play of the game. But they still were there. And he increased his celebrity tenfold after that 2-year stretch to where he became one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL. He became a star. I mean, he's a good-looking dude, so he's easily photogenic and put on the camera. Mm-hmm. So it's not like, they had to hide him or anything like that.
I'm just looking it up. They got married in 2016, so I wasn't too off. But that was a big year for
Oh,
me.
yeah. So she, she had to be see, that's the thing. Like, she had to open up some sort of avenue or pathway to allow him to get to her. Like, you don't just call up or start texting her. Like, Ciara opens up for you. It's not like the other way around where Russ is like, oh, yeah, give her my number. She must have done that some way, some connection that way. And then clearly as a result of him getting hot, I mean, he came out, he won a Super Bowl, and then was in the next one the year after that. So I'm sure that definitely caught her eye. Absolutely.
So you think that maybe Ciara pursued him?
Yeah, here's the thing. She's too popular of a celebrity at that. Think about this. Yeah. Russ just came on the scene at that point. Uh-huh. She's a vet. How famous was she in 2016? 2015.
2015. She had already had all of her great hits.
There you go.
Point.
Okay, so she's in that. She's like already in that mode.
Yeah.
Which is extreme stardom, superstardom. So she's at that level of this echelon where if you are just in that, somebody needs to continue to reach out. Like, you can't just show up to the party. And Russell Wilson couldn't just open up the door and be like, hey, I'm here.
Right.
You know, he needed somebody to come out and tell the bouncer, yeah, he's with me. He's with me. Like, that's an exclusive. She's in an exclusive room. So that's what I'm saying is, and that's like all the power to her is my point, which is, you know, she is everybody who is male, female, who it doesn't matter. Like, if you're in that small room right there, and especially entertainment, then you're going to have to initiate, you're going to have to give the okay. You know, it's like, all right, let him know it's okay. Tell his people that it's okay to reach out to me, something along those lines.
You're right. That's so funny. I really want to know the story now.
We'd have to find that out. We definitely would. Maybe Newey knows. All right, we'll take a quick break here. Newey Scruggs down in Dallas will join us, and we'll talk about the NFC East futures. I'm sure he has some thought or two on that conversation. Talk to Newey about everything. He'll join us on the Dr. Glatt Regrow Your Hairline coming up, and then we'll get you ready for 2 Monday night football games. Talked enough about what happened last night, over the weekend, even into Sunday, where the Eagles and Steelers right now a 7-point difference between the two. Newey Scruggs next. What are the odds? Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler, presented by Cure Auto Insurance.
Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, total.
Okay, how much time do we have?
3 minutes and 20 seconds.
And how long is the next break?
Calling Marlton Pike down the Haddon Avenue. The left lane is blocked. It's a crash.
It's 5 minutes.
And how long is that last break?
Kicking where only the left lane gets by. Northbound Boulevard back to.
Last break of the hour is 3 minutes and 40 seconds.
All right, you know what? Let me see something here. I'm going to see if I can move him to 7.
Okay.
Because otherwise we're back, and then I have to break again. 8 minutes, like it's.
Bridge, Larry Tratella, total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Geico's.
For this break that we're in, I added 40 seconds to it. Do you want to keep it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Car insurance by switching to Geico.
I'm just going to try
It's
to
almost as
contact
scary as
him.
watching your dog growl at the wall and
Okay.
get a quote at geico.com.
Just because you've been with the car insurance company for years doesn't mean you're getting the best rate.
720, 820,
use your credit score,
1020.
education level, and your employment status to determine your rate, but not Cure Auto Insurance.
All right, he's good.
Last time I checked, those things have nothing to do with your driving ability. Cure bases rates primarily on what really matters, how well you drive. Did you know a study showed if you don't have a 700 plus credit score, you could be paying over 50% more for car insurance, even without an accident or ticket? Go to cure.com and see how much you could be saving. Getting a quote is quick and easy, and it's free. Plus,
All right,
they
that's
have
good.
outstanding and convenient
So we're
service.
back, and
They offer
then
pay by text, electronic billing, and claim support 24 hours a day, 7 days a
5
week.
and then
Just visit
342,
cure.com.
you said?
That's CURE.com.
Yeah, so 5:30 and 3:40.
That's 800-535-2873. Cure Auto Insurance. Drive well.
You need a shave that's smooth, effortless, and flawless. Introducing the all-new Ghost Shaver. Its patented design fits in the palm of your hand. With 5 rotary blades, the Ghost Shaver gives you a clean, close shave without the nicks, cuts, or bumps. It's sleek, electric, and waterproof. Buy a Ghost Shaver today at GhostShaver.com or now available on Amazon. Put in promo code 10razors for 10% off a Ghost Shaver today at Amazon.com. The all-new Ghost Shaver. A shave above the rest.
All the good stuff. Yeah. Rufio keeps you on top of pop culture.
We got 60 seconds.
20 Billboard Music Awards have been announced, and it's shaping up to be a fun show. Performers confirmed for this year's telecast include Post Malone, Alicia Keys, Bad Bunny, and Luke Combs. This will be the first BBMA performances for Post Malone, Bad Bunny, and Luke Combs, while it will be Alicia's first time on the BBMA stage in 8 years. The 2020 Billboard Music Awards, hosted by Kelly Clarkson, will air live on NBC October 14th.
All right. And that's what's poppin'.
I'm Rufio on iHeartRadio.
If you're a business,
We got 20 seconds. Did you need me to do anything, or are you good?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Thanks.
now is the time to upgrade to NetSuite by Oracle, the world's #1 cloud business system. NetSuite gives you visibility and control over your financials, HR, inventory, e-commerce, and more. Join the over 21,000 companies using NetSuite right now. Schedule your free product now at netsuite.com/radio. netsuite.com/radio.
All right, quick adjustment here because we're pretty tight on time for the final 18 minutes of this hour. We're going to move Nui to 7 o'clock at the top of the next hour. That still gives us some time to talk about what's going on in the NFL tonight. Huge news that came out Saturday regarding Cam Newton and a player in the Chiefs. They got it done instantly. This was not even a, Titans situation. That was as bad of a problem as we've really seen so far. The only other problem that we've seen so far. The NFL stepped in and they got it right. They made it really difficult to do anything else but play the game, and they only lost a full day. That's it. They lost a day, maybe an extra, I don't know. Instead of 24 hours, they lost 27 hours. And now the Chiefs and Patriots are back on the field. It is a situation that we prepared for, though, right? Coming into the season, there was definitely concern about, well, what happens 2 days before a game if the starting quarterback gets COVID? We just found out the starting quarterback ain't playing. And the game becomes a little more difficult to watch. Patriots were a 7-point road dog with a healthy Cam Newton. They've been bet up to a 12.5. That is insanely high, but Brian Hoyer is the quarterback. Could you not see them run away with this thing? It's probably going to be tight. The Patriots defense has played well this year. They haven't given up a ton of points. They've played fairly well. So could you not see something along those lines where the Chiefs, the Patriots play to a tight first couple of quarters, and then all of a sudden in the second half, that's when things start to fall apart. That's when you start to see it just slip away. And yeah, I think that would probably be the more realistic scenario than not. And what better place to start than if, in fact, you would lay the 12.5 if you're Kansas City. We just saw the Rams struggle to cover that line. Just saw LA struggle to get in there and do anything of note. I don't know how, honestly, the New England Patriots are able to cover unless they get a rare turnover from the Chiefs. They should be able to move the football, but they're so ground dependent and it takes time off. And you're not going to see a situation like we saw with Cleveland where they were able to run all over Dallas. You're not going to run all over Kansas City to the tune of, 200 plus yards and put up 3 touchdowns and take the pressure off of Brian Hoyer. I don't mind Brian Hoyer in this game, though, and that's why I keep going back and forth about this. I really don't mind Hoyer at all. It's just, how do you truly look and gauge what you can get out of Hoyer, who found out on Saturday, maybe Friday night? All right, kid, you're starting. Not even kid to Belichick, but he probably like equal age to me. How old is Brian Hoyer? That's another thing here. That should factor in to whether or not you're going to take the 12.5 points. He's 34 years old. Wow. I don't know why I thought Hoyer was closer to my age. And I'm 42, so 40 is what I was going. I'm cheating myself 2 years. I thought he was like 38. 34, okay. He's still a little nimble. Move around a little bit. 12.5. They're begging you to take that. That seems so easy. So easy that the Chiefs would come in, light it up. Patriots didn't have much disruption. It's not like the Texans, who fired their general manager / head coach after losing to a Vikings team who was without their building for half of the week. Can you imagine how demoralizing? Well, I guess we know how demoralizing it was. Bill O'Brien said bye-bye to DeAndre Hopkins and then lost his job a month in. The audacity, the hubris of this man to step in as the general manager. Already a conflict of interest because as a coach, he didn't get along with the player. As a general manager, any general manager worth their weight would have turned around and said, work it out. Oh, you don't get along with the top 2-3 wide receiver in the NFL, depending on the night? Work it out. And instead, we've seen a disaster, absolute disaster. It got to that point where they had to move on. It got to that level where it was such an embarrassment locally, you had to move on. You had to say enough and fire the head coach. In the case of tonight, you only have 2 days really to prepare. And this is not a typical practice scene, especially when you're dealing with extreme testing and trying to figure out if anybody else is contagious and has the virus. Not an easy situation in the slightest right now. Yet, here we are. I don't know how to make any sense of this entire situation. I really don't. I don't know if Brian Hoyer is going to come in and look so bad and so ill-prepared that the Patriots just are lost. That doesn't sound right, does it? Say that out loud. The Patriots are going to look lost tonight. Brian Hoyer is going to be fumbling over his own feet and the football. Does that really sound accurate to you? Or does Bill Belichick and that defense have a game plan to, at the very least, neutralize? And do they have enough healthy running backs, 5, mind you, that they can run with at any given time, to keep the football away from Patrick Mahomes so that we are looking at like a 10-3 game at the half because New England just kept the ball away as much as possible and played field position? Doesn't that make more sense to you? Does to me, at least. I mean, doesn't that stand out as the more likely scenario? One thing on Major League Baseball, we'll hit that before we wrap the hour. Newey Scruggs will join us to open up our second hour, and then we've got 2 big football games. And I don't know, you may knock and disparage what the Patriots will do tonight, but you'll watch it, and I will as well, especially with a big line like that at 12.5. How can you not at least be enticed? What are the odds? Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler, presented by Cure Auto Insurance.
The hits. Fire the first shot. Let's go, man. Both on and off the field. Let's go, Peter Bass. The Rodney McLeod Show is the place to hear about it all. Right here on The Gambler.
You're pausing me nervous.
You just received
What do you mean?
the NFLPA.
Because I didn't know, because usually you say that and then you keep talking. So I didn't know if I should cue the commercial.
Oh, no. So, I'll never.
Me now get the recognition that I feel like I deserve is.
Okay,
right?
so
I don't
here's the
do it
thing.
for the accolades.
Just so
I
you
don't do
know,
it for the
with me at
awards.
least,
I just do
in
it
the first
because
half
that's
hour,
what my
because
heart
that's always a
says.
longer segment.
The Gambler at Fox PH.
If I say that and it's before
Facebook,
25, I'll
Twitter,
never
and
break
Instagram.
before 25, no matter what, unless I tell you ahead of time, like, hey, we need to break at 10 or something like that. So if you hear me say that, even if I like pause to sneeze or something, and it's 10 after or even 20 after, something like that, I'm just resetting. So yeah, I won't say it in the final half hour unless it's time for a break, if that makes sense. Because it's usually a shorter segment where I don't need to necessarily reset.
Got it. Okay.
If that makes sense.
Dodge Chrysler Jeep cheap for only $199 down or just $199 a month
We got 4 minutes.
Okay.
on Barbera Boulevard in Fort Beck in the great Northeast. Is Barbera the best? Boy, I guess.
One of the biggest issues for men over the age of 55 is erectile dysfunction. Newly introduced European technology is now available. It has proven to be over 85% successful in treating erectile dysfunction. Board-certified medical doctor and local top doctor for erectile dysfunction, Dr. Ronald Brown.
Erectile dysfunction for men of all ages has become much more common. In fact, most men don't realize that 90% of erectile dysfunction is a direct result of broken down old blood vessels. This causes a lack of blood flow, which is critical in achieving an erection. With our state-of-the-art technology, we're able to rid those blood vessels of the plaque and scar tissue buildup and stimulate new stem cell growth right in our office with no downtime, no medications, and no pain.
To book your consultation and get back the intimacy you deserve naturally, call 610-679-8181. That's 610-679-8181. Get intimacy you deserve naturally. Call now at 610-679-8181. That's 610-679-8181.
Election Day is November 3rd. If you plan to vote by mail, plan ahead at USPS.com/voting info. There, you will find helpful resources, such as guidance for successfully using the mail, links to find your state's rules and deadlines, information for military and overseas voters, and more. The U.S. Postal Service is ready to deliver for you. Make sure you're ready too. Start today at usps.com/votinginfo.
Maybe you've noticed your friend sharing photos of what looks like fried food, but they're bragging about how healthy they are. They're right. It's the latest in cooking innovation, and Lowe's has Samsung slide-in ranges with air fry to help you get in on the trend. Air fry uses little to no oil, giving you the taste of your favorite fried foods. Plus, the air fry tray is included, so you can start cooking from the get-go. Order yours today via our app, online, or in-store, and get free delivery. Bring home innovation this fall with Lowe's. Free local delivery applies to appliances $396 or more, U.S. only.
Cleanings, checkups, and cavities? Have Dr. Chang's dental practice at capacity.
Patient in room 1 is getting a root canal. The x-rays in room 2 are going to have to wait. We're down to 1 hygienist.
It's time to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. The moment you sponsor a job on Indeed, you get a short list of quality candidates from our resume database. Indeed delivers 2.5 times more hires than the other branded job sites combined, according to Breezy HR 2019. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get a $75 credit for your first job post. Terms and conditions apply.
Now, Audible gives you audiobooks, podcasts, Audible originals, and more, all in one place. Whether you want to dive into a series, listen to a popular bestseller, or check out the latest episode of a great new podcast, Audible has you covered. Enjoy genres you love, like motivation, mysteries, and sci-fi. Follow names you know in comedy or true crime podcasts, or discover the Audible exclusive everyone's talking about, The Sandman. And for a limited time, Prime members get $50 off their first year of Audible Premium Plus membership. Visit audible.com to get started.
Skies will be clear for a while tonight before some patchy fog develops toward morning. We'll get a chilly low of 53 in Philadelphia, with some outlying suburbs.
50 seconds.
Okay.
Tomorrow looks great with a good deal of sunshine and high of 72. That's 6 ABC Action News weather.
This report is sponsored by Geico's Geico-ween. Don't let your savings disappear. Want to know what's really scary? Seeing just how much you could have been saving on car insurance by switching to Geico. It's almost as scary as watching your dog growl at the wall and realize he sees something you don't. Get a quote at geico.com.
iHeartRadio's new true crime podcast, Paper Ghosts, investigates a decades-long search for 4 young girls who vanished from their neighboring New England hometowns.
It's like she dropped off the face of the earth. If you tried to say anything to them about her, they didn't like it.
But recently uncovered
10.
change everything.
I immediately just sat on the floor like somebody just punched me in the gut.
This will be like a couple 2 minutes or so I can get out.
Okay, cool.
ALDS is open for business right now. Game 1 going on between the A's and Astros. I'm going to say A's and Athletics. No, I'm not. Didn't do that on purpose. Sorry. A's and Astros 8-5 Houston. Man, you do not want Houston to win this game. Just saying. Or this series. Yankees and Rays tonight. 8:07 first pitch. Blake Snell for the Rays. Garrett Cole for the Yankees. This will be interesting. It's a shame. It really is a shame. Now, what the heck? Major League Baseball drives me nuts. Absolute nuts. One time we were tearing into them last week, rightfully so, because they were running boring games at 5, 6 o'clock or expecting us to watch stuff at noon. And that, on one hand, was the far extreme that we had to deal with. And then this is the other side of that far extreme. You're going up against 2. Now, they didn't know it was 2, but still, you're going up against 1 Monday night game. Yankees Rays is not, it's a good game to watch. This would be a perfect game where if you were going to make an excuse to watch a baseball game at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, this would be the one to do it. Especially game 1, and you start game 1 of the ALDS up against Monday Night Football, COVID or no COVID, there was going to be a game tonight. Awful. And now one of the most watched teams that's a moneymaker for baseball across the country in a sport that has been super regionalized, they're shooting themselves in the foot. Even Burris is laughing at this. All right, Newy Scruggs is going to join us coming up in 3 minutes down in Dallas. We'll get his thoughts on the NFC East. Take a look at the NFC East futures, and it's going to be two teams here in Philly. I'll pick up for Philadelphia. Newey will pick up for Dallas, and we'll see if we can come to some common ground. I'm sure we can. Newey's a great guy, and we'll get his insight into that. And also, I'm sure since he's down in Dallas and has his eye on the state, what the Texans are going to do with their head coach opening, Eric Bieniemy would be a fantastic choice. We'll see if Newey agrees. All here in the final hour. Coming up, what are the odds? Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler, presented by Cure Auto Insurance.
Dan Patrick, 9 to noon.
Brett Brown joins us.
Colin Cowherd from noon to 3.
The Sixers.
Let me get you his number. What's that?
Now I was saying 320.
Okay. I'm going to get you his number real quick.
Okay.
You can find that, all ears to it, right here on Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now, total traffic for Philadelphia.
Traffic jam on the Schuylkill westbound University to south. That's where roadwork is only the right lane getting by. Further west, heavy glad with the Conshohocken and the Vining Expressway westbound. Watch for delay between the Parkway and the Schuylkill merge. 95 southbound, a little slow south of Cotman Bridge through the ongoing work zone. Watch for an accident Lower Moreland, Philmont Avenue at Maple Road. Traffic's being directed around the accident scene. Large total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Geico's Geico-Ween. Don't let your savings disappear. Want to know what's really scary? Seeing just how much you could have been saving on car insurance by switching to Geico. It's almost as scary as watching your dog growl at the wall and realize he sees something you don't. Get a quote at geico.com.
Just because you've been with the car insurance company for years doesn't mean you're getting the best rate. Almost all insurance companies use your credit score, education level, and your employment status to determine your rate, but not Cure Auto Insurance. Last time I checked, those things have nothing to do with your driving ability. Cure bases rates primarily on what really matters, how well you drive. Did you know a study showed if you don't have a 700 plus credit score, you could be paying over 50% more for car insurance even without an accident or ticket? Go to cure.com and see how much you could be saving. Getting a quote is quick and easy, and it's free. Plus, they have outstanding and convenient service. They offer pay by text,
What's that?
electronic billing, and claim support 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Just visit cure.com, that's CURE.com, or call 800-535-CURE. That's 800-535-2873. Cure Auto Insurance. Drive well.
I saved big money with the Progressive Home and Auto Bundle, so I finally bought that new set of golf clubs. Watch out, Fairway. Here I come.
This is not a real testimonial. Sure, customers can save big with Progressive, but your other expenses won't.
All right, 60 seconds and Newey's on the line.
Okay.
Hot water heater dies?
Thank
also,
you.
It sounds like your money is better spent on golf lessons.
Time to go shoot the course record.
No, but maybe time for a reality check. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Facebook knows that voting this year is a little trickier than usual, and you may have questions like how to register, vote by mail, and how to safely vote in person. That's why Facebook created the Voting Information Center. Get information from election authorities and experts at facebook.com/votinginfocenter. And don't miss the new podcast from iHeartRadio and Facebook called Why I'm Voting, where you'll hear more reasons to vote. iHeartRadio's Why I'm Voting, countdown to Election Day. Your vote is your voice.
WDAS and W273DO Philadelphia is The Gambler, an iHeart radio station. Presented by Cure Auto Insurance. 3, 2, 1. Grab your phone because now is your chance to win $1,000. Text the keyword money. 100. You'll get a confirmation text and info. Standard data and message rates apply in this nationwide contest. That's money to 200-200. A Florida man does something stupid.
Don't do something stupid.
What are the odds? It's Eitan Shander on Fox Sports The Gambler.
iHeartRadio music you should know featuring Gunna with Young Thug. Dollars on my head.
We're back.
Yep.
All right, we go out to the Dr. Glatt Regrow Your Hairline. Dr. Paul Glatt, Philadelphia's leading hair restoration doctor. And bring on Newey Scruggs. Of course, you can follow Newey. And if you follow me, then I'm sure you're at the very least aware of Newey. Good friend of the program. Friend of mine for a while. Hope you're okay with me using that term, my friend. It's always a pleasure.
Of course.
How are you?
Man, I was really bummed out this morning. So, because the Cowboys even had 307 yards of rushing. I mean, nobody has 307 yards of rushing. Francis, I've been on 60 years. So I was so bummed. To make myself feel good, I listened to Detroit sports radio as they were ruling on Matt Patricia. And then I felt better this afternoon when I found out Bill O'Brien got fired. So my buddies in Houston were all happy about that. So there you go.
Look at that. Now, you weren't going to listen to me at 11 a.m., huh? 10 o'clock your time. I was probably last on your list, huh?
I actually truly am enjoying watching the slow death of Matt Patricia and Bob Quinn in Detroit. The day they fired Jim Caldwell and the reasoning of it frustrated me to no end. And so every time these dudes get beat, I absolutely enjoy all the negative fanfare that come their way for their ineptness as a organization.
I can't believe I'm asking this because Deshaun Watson is night and day, one of the more special talents in the league. Matthew Stafford is just not going to be there long. But what is the more enticing job? Let's say Eric Bieniemy has his choice. Should he go to Houston or really get a chance to start over with a new face, I'm sure, at the quarterback position in a year or so in Detroit?
You take Deshaun Watson. You take the proven product.
Yeah, but you deal with the ownership group and all the other stuff as well. That's why I ask.
You know what? To me, I think Houston has been very patient with the way they've run their franchise. The biggest problem, Eitan, was that Bill O'Brien somehow had conned the McNairs into allowing him to consolidate power, into firing Rick Smith, and then he wanted Brian Gaine and firing Brian Gaine. I mean, but to me, you win in this league when you got some special guys at quarterback. And for him, having been in Kansas City, when you start talking about looking at young players, guys that you say, hey, look, if I'm going to be connected to a quarterback, I'm going to be connected to this guy. Deshaun Watson is that guy.
Right.
From the time he was coming out of school, I was a huge fan of his. His offensive coordinator at Clemson was Chad Morris, and Chad used to be the coach at SMU. And he actually introduced me to Deshaun when he came through and got the Davey O'Brien Award. And he could not say enough great things about the play. I think the enemy can help him. And to me, that's where, if I'm a coach, I want to go, where's the great quarterback? You go to Detroit, you don't exactly know what you're going to get. And, people can talk about drafting guys all day long. You don't know what these kids are going to be. So if I got an opportunity to take a guy who's been in this league, who can win in this league, who's been in the playoffs in this league, you give me that guy.
Do you think that they will actually go to Bieniemy? I mean, he seems like the most logical candidate, but he did for a couple of other jobs as well.
I don't know. First off is okay, how do you want to hire? Do you want to hire the coach and then let the coach have the input on the general manager like they did with the Buffalo Bills,
right,
and what they've done with the 49ers, or how are they going to do this? That's going to be an interesting thing to me. I personally would think about bringing back Rick Smith if I'm Houston. Rick Smith was a good general manager. Bill O'Brien just hated him,
right?
Because Bill O'Brien wanted everything done his way. But Rick is the guy who actively went up there and made that trade with Cleveland to get Deshaun Watson. So. I think Rick is good at his job, but, like everybody else who was in touch with Bill O'Brien, got run off.
It's amazing. I did not anticipate this happening. You would think that a guy who had enough job security, and I love the term you use, con, and the network show I do is generated and run out of Houston. So, all the local producers and a couple local hosts, guys I work with have been complaining about this guy for a while. So you would think that somebody with the job security to convince, to con, whatever term people want to use, ownership to get rid of DeAndre Hopkins on top of consolidating power is not going to be a guy that's the first to go in the NFL. I thought it would be Dan Quinn, the aforementioned Patricia. I did not anticipate Bill O'Brien being the first guy fired this year, despite how bad it got for Houston.
I'm with you. I thought it would be Gase. Then
It's another good one, yeah.
Because here's the interesting thing, because I worked for a news director who was trying to plan my grave and a whole bunch of others. You spend so many times digging other people's graves, next thing you know, you jump in one for yourself. And that's what happened to Bill O'Brien, and I'm happy for it. I'm truly happy for it.
Yeah, no love lost.
These New England guys who run around here living off the work of Bill Belichick crack me up. It's almost like a bunch of these Saban guys. You all convinced everyone that you were in class with the master teacher, so therefore you know all the lessons and you're going to bring them to them. No. This is a guy who thought he was better and bigger than the players. And when you start getting rid of DeAndre Hopkins, a trusted threat for Watson and a guy that the fans enjoy, and you bring back Brandon Cooks and David Johnson, and then your whole spin is, well, we don't know how it's going to work out. We need about 3 years or so.
Yeah.
He's like, no. So, good riddance to him, and good luck to Houston trying to get it right.
Last
Don't
time,
anybody else from New England.
exactly. The last guy that I saw fail this miserably after consolidating power was Chip Kelly, and you do not want to be in that same conversation as Chip Kelly when it comes to the level of failure in the NFL. I am curious, speaking of coaches and coaches and frustrations, I heard earlier from Mike McCarthy, and I played a clip on my earlier show from him just venting frustration. And we poke fun at each other all the time on Twitter, and I get that. But at the same time, I do ask in a serious manner here, because I clearly can see, like, we all know that Dak Prescott has talent, and that Dak Prescott is not the first, second, or probably third guy you would go to explain why this team is in the situation it is. But is there any reality to he having like these Matt Ryan type stats where they're coming where the team is down and they're more hollow than not? Or is that an unfair criticism in your opinion?
My problem with the Cowboys has been this way for a few years now. They've given all this money to Ezekiel Elliott, and they want to run the ball. Why'd you give him all that money? This is a waste. Who are you? I mean, the thing about what we saw yesterday in down here in North Texas, Jerry World, Cleveland is a running football team. That's what they're coming to do.
Yep.
We're coming to run the football. We're coming to take the ball away from you, and we're going to score. That's their MO right now. And they came in here and they did it all day long. Cowboys knew it was coming, and they couldn't stop any of it. You think about this. What, 3 weeks ago, they were talking about trading Odell Beckham Jr., just the rumors. Like, it's not going to work. He made the Pro Bowl yesterday playing the Cowboys. This team throws too much. I have problems with Kellen Moore. Just when you saw the 2 sacks by Myles Garrett, who's from Arlington, by the way. So Myles Garrett is lined up against a rookie. They leave the rookie Terrence Steele out there. And, of course, he runs around him, sacks and another strip sack and fumble. And I asked Kellen Moore about 20 minutes ago, so was he supposed to have help? And if he wasn't supposed to have help, why do you leave a rookie against a guy who's a well-known pass rusher in his league? And he gave me some old tap dance answer, but that's just coaching malfeasance. That's just stupid. So Garrett gets the strip sack, and you take what was a 14-14 game, now it's 21-14, and then the next play, Ezekiel Elliott fumbles, they go down and scores 28-14, and now the game has got away from them. And I just have a frustration of watching a team that doesn't know what they want to be. You and I know when dudes start throwing the ball 50 and 60 times a game, there's an L that comes along with it.
It's over.
And they don't do it. They can't stop the run as a football team. Everybody has averaged 30 rushes or more against the Cowboys. Cleveland ran the ball 40 times.
That's
for
ridiculous.
307 yards. You don't see that. I mean, rushing for 307 yards, that's something like when Barry Switzer and Oklahoma were playing Utah. You don't see that in professional football ever. That's a college football thing. But that's how bad this thing is here. So when I look at Dak Prescott, the empty stats, I mean, I give him credit for this. The guy didn't quit.
No.
The guy that quit, this is what the situation is. I'm going to go and play through, and that's what you do. But for me, I look at them as an organization. I say, how are you utilizing the players? Kevin Stefanski has basically said, I do not want Baker Mayfield throwing the football. So they limited his throws. This guy threw 30 times yesterday. They limited his throws. They are a running football team. The best year Tony Romo had, in my opinion, was the year DeMarco Murray was Offensive Player of the Year because they didn't throw the ball. You get dudes like Dak, you got them throwing 40 times a game, you're going to lose. There's not many quarterbacks in this game that can throw it 40 times a game and that are going to win a lot of games for you. Not many in this league.
Well, is Mike McCarthy planning on, or at least being vocal about doing anything different? He's a fresh pair of eyes on this whole situation, yet it looks like the criticisms that you and I'm sure a bunch of other people have down in Dallas have been there for before his arrival, yet they're still relevant and accurate now.
I'm shocked, but this dude is on board with it.
Oh, my goodness.
He's down with it. He even talked yesterday, we're a comeback team. I'm like, did you just say you're a comeback team? Like, no, baby, no. This isn't what you want to do. He also says, hey, we want to score as quick as we can. I'm like, no. You got a bad defense. And this is the coaching malfeasance of it. You got a bad defense. If the Cowboys defense is on the field for 30 minutes or longer, they lose. They're not good enough to be on the field for 30 minutes.
Right.
So that's why I go back to the whole thing of 21. Run the football. Run the football, keep your defense off the field, and give yourself a better opportunity to win games. But right now, his philosophy is not much better than the guy they fired in terms of what they're doing. It's very frustrating for me. I was drinking the Mike McCarthy Kool-Aid. I've poured it all out. I'm not going to get on that narcotic no more.
Wow. Turning on the new head coach a month into the season, saying ain't so.
Man, I can't. Why am I going to co-sign on that's like that? We want to score as quick as we can. He said he's not worried about controlling the football.
No.
You should be. You should. And also, they're not calling what I like to call complementary plays. If my defense isn't good, then I need to run the clock to protect them because the longer they're out there, the better chance I have to get beat. If you're playing Kansas City, what do you want to do? Shorten the football game.
Yep.
Why? Because it lessens the amount of chances that Pat Mahomes has a football.
Novel idea. Yeah.
Yeah. Some of this stuff isn't rocket science. Okay. And Matt Patricia shows just because you do have a degree in rocket science doesn't mean you're really good. Somebody in the Cowboy organization used to have this thing about Jason Garrett. They used to tell me, they said, Jason is the smartest, dumb, blankety blank that you'll ever meet. He used 2 curse words.
Right.
And here's Mike McCarthy, who sold everybody that, hey, I spent all this offseason in a little bunker, me and all these people trying to decide how we're going to come back stronger than ever. I'm not seeing it, man.
No.
1-3. Lucky not to be 0-4, and now you need the New York Giants to make you feel good. And Jason Garrett's coming to town this week. Don't lose this week.
No,
don't do it.
Definitely not. Not after that team hung on and had an opportunity to win that game against the Rams. Newy Scruggs on the Dr. Glatt Regrow Your Hairline. Dr. Paul Glatt, Philadelphia's leading hair restoration doctor. At Newy Scruggs on Twitter. At Shander Show for me. All right, let's look at this, man. The NFC East futures right now. And this is why Philly versus Dallas. We know that it's going to come down to these two teams. Washington, as crazy as it sounds, still not even close to technically out of the conversation, but that's not going to last. New York might be. I think it's a battle between the two New York teams to see which is the worst in the NFL entirely. With that said, the Cowboys, as we speak, Newy, are minus 110. The Eagles are plus 100. So you're just getting even money back. Now, that jumped 150 points from yesterday, going into yesterday's games. And now it's pretty much even for the Eagles, minus 110 for the Cowboys. If you had $100 right now, who would you put it on?
Tell me who's healthy. That's really the thing.
I can't. Nobody can, right? Like, okay, let's look at it this way. Who gets healthy fast on Dallas's defense? Because isn't that the biggest area of concern that could also change in the next 6 to 8 weeks?
Well, part of it is Van Der Esch and Sean Lee, your 2 linebackers, can come back. That will help you. And getting back one of the DBs. But this offensive line is really a problem because right tackle La'el Collins, who was playing at a Pro Bowl level last year, he's now out for the year. And these geniuses have decided they're going to put an undrafted rookie tackle out there who Myles Garrett just ran around. So if Garrett's running around, that means Derek Barnett can run around. That means Washington's guys like Kerrigan. I mean, they've got to fix the right tackle spot. And the crazy thing that they're fighting now is they could put Zach Martin, who's their all-pro guard.
Right.
You can put him at right tackle. He's better than the other two guys, but they're saying, no, we don't want to do it. So, I mean, literally, just the philosophy of what they're doing, I don't know. And so I think this could end up being just like it was last year. It's going to come down to the end, and who's got the healthier body standing between Dallas and Philadelphia. 8 wins may win. I mean, right now, Philly's in the driver's seat because, you got the tie. So the tie is going to be good. But
see, that's one thing, though. You're right. That just on the strength of the tie, that might be enough to put money on the Eagles, simply because both of these teams are going to backdoor their way, whoever does it, into winning this division. And it might be like 7, 8, and 1 that gets you in, as opposed to something along those lines where normally it would be like, 8 and 8 or 9 and 7.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say this. Yeah, the Cowboys still have to play San Francisco. That's a Sunday night football game.
San Fran's probably going to be a little healthier then, right?
Yeah. And both teams should be healthier then. And look, I have more confidence in Kyle Shanahan winning that game right now than I do this Cowboys. The Cowboys coach is scheming up some stuff. He may tear them apart. Because if Stefanski can do that, I mean, Shanahan's going to be able to out-scheme him. So, this is scary. The Cowboys still have to play Baltimore. They still got to play Pittsburgh. This next stretch for the this month, the rest of this month really matters because they get the Giants, they get Washington, they get Arizona on a Monday night, and then before the Philadelphia game. So the Cowboys have got to figure out how to win these 3 NFC East games and outlast Arizona to give themselves an opportunity to try and get better. And that's the biggest thing I can say. They got to get healthy and just try and figure it out. And they're, today on the conference calls between the coordinators, everybody's talking about patience.
Yep.
They got to get better.
Man, this is crazy. The division got worse, brother. It actually got worse from last year. Do you believe that?
Yes.
I don't. I didn't think it could. I was watching. You and I were watching these teams last year. Nobody wanted the division. They kept going back and forth like, yo, man, you take it. No, you take it. No, man, you take it. Now it got worse.
See, I'll tell you, Akon, the losing the division last year for me was good because it meant Garrett could go. It meant Garrett could give Jason Garrett and then I would just stick around.
You just gave up on the new guy a month into it.
But yeah, I mean, look, everything we were told hasn't changed. You bring Kellen Moore back and you're still doing the very things that got you beat. I mean, yes, I was like, yeah, get rid of Rod Marinelli. Well, Rod Marinelli never gave us 307 yards of rushing. This franchise has been around since 1960, and yesterday was the worst day of rushing in team history.
It's amazing.
History.
Amazing.
But
Yeah.
people don't run the ball anymore. They don't run, they throw. So to get 307 yards, I mean, it wasn't Jim Brown back here. It was Nick Chubb who got hurt in the first half. Then Kareem Hunt, who had a sore groin. Okay, you got a sore groin. He ran 2 touchdowns. And then a dude I never heard of had almost 100 yards. It was 4 dudes. I mean, Odell Beckham Jr. outrushed Ezekiel Elliott yesterday.
Craziness. It should never happen. You're right. Something like that doesn't happen. Not even every now and again, just at all anymore. Newey, I love you, man. I appreciate.
College football. Don't do it in college football no more.
You're right. That's another thing too. Is the game has changed there as well. Did you watch Jimmy at all last night? Oh, was it just too much? Were you just locked into the Eagles? Did you watch Jimmy and the Heat at all last night?
No, I just saw the end.
Man,
Jimmy just went all Dwayne Wade 2006. He just said it's on me. But I remembered being in Philadelphia the day that trade happened and how everybody was all excited about him. And when Jimmy left because of the issues with the Sixers, I wasn't shocked. And to me, that's a failing of the organization.
Oh, yeah.
You want a guy. Jimmy has substance. And that to me is what more people should be about, is having guys with substance in the organization. And the fact that he looked at these dudes in Philly like, yeah, I don't want to be a part of this. That was pretty damning. And maybe now the Sixers will start to
Maybe
later on about who they are.
Yeah, I mean, they've got Doc here, so hopefully there's some direction. But yeah, I was.
No. Look at his mess that he had there with the Clippers. Chris Paul couldn't get along with Blake. Then he had his issues with DeAndre Jordan. Remember, DeAndre Jordan was going to sign a contract with the Mavericks, and then they ran all down to Houston, and everybody got.
They locked him in the house.
Right. And they had to tell him they loved him.
Right.
So they had their issues. So then get rid of Chris Paul. So then you bring in Paul George and Kawhi. Then they.
But Paul George, come on, man. You can't use Paul George as any gauge. That guy, from a mental prepared standpoint, is weaker than anybody here on this Sixers team.
But keep in mind, let me keep going. He had the Rondo issues that he had to deal with there. Now, here's a telling thing. When
Rondo's got into more issues than people than me.
I'm just laying out the fact. When he left, if you notice, nobody said anything with the Clippers. Like, hey, man, appreciate you, Doc.
It's true.
It wasn't your fault. We love you, Doc.
That's a good point.
They were like, all right. That says something here. So how he's going to help Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons like each other, good luck with that. Just saying.
Oh, no, it's a fundamental problem that they have here that's not going to be fixed by any means right away with Doc Rivers. Jimmy Butler.
Philly, but think of it this way. Has any team milked more out of one championship than the Boston Celtics in 2008? I mean, to hear that whole group talk, you think they'd won 4 or 5 rings. You think they were a dynasty. Like, you guys won 1 ring.
Well, I'll tell you, Paul Pierce milked the most out of it by a mile. I don't know how they continue to go to him on television.
Kendrick Perkins.
Well, yeah. Well, you're right. KP, I forgot about him.
Man. And you listen to these guys, the way they talk, you're like, damn, did you guys win 4 or 5 rings? I mean, they act like they're the Warriors. So, like, they had the Warriors run when you listen to them talk.
Right.
So,
right.
Hey, I just like, okay. I mean, come on, man. I mean, just so good luck with your man. Good luck with your man. But yeah, I'm not sold on Doc Rivers.
Real quick, Nui, I know I kept you long, but I appreciate you, man. Real quick, on your way out, give us who's on a bigger receipts tour right now. And the apology tour is like when you say something or do something wrong, you have to go out and go on the media tours and I'm sorry, right? The receipts tour is you going around being like, I remember what you said about me. I remember what you said about me. I remember what you said about me. And you're showing people up. Who's on a bigger receipts tour right now? Jimmy Butler or Josh Allen?
Jimmy Butler. Josh is still just, he's still on the, and Jimmy's been around the league,
Well, fair enough. He's got more legs to him.
Yeah. He's got more, between playing for the Bulls, the T-Bulls, and the Sixers, he's been a few spots. So I can see it. And then Jimmy didn't play when he was early on here. I mean, Josh Allen came here, and while there were people who said, I don't believe in the guy, nobody in the Bills organization ever said they didn't believe in him. And he's always had that great Bills backers fan support. So give me Jimmy.
I love you, brother. Be well, be safe. Always a pleasure, man.
Bye.
Newey Scruggs, at Newey Scruggs, the Dr. Glatt, regrow your hairline, Dr. Paul Glatt, Philadelphia's leading hair restoration doctor. We should be just doing a show at that point. But I kept him a couple of minutes late because he's just, I love him. And he's been around in this game for a while. Emmy winner down in Dallas, did national work for NBC Sports Radio before they kind of went away. And just a really smart guy in tune with the human element of sports and definitely objective. Not a Dallas homer, not all about ripping the Eagles just to rip the Eagles or anything along those lines. But he raises a really good point about Doc leaving and how there really wasn't anything along the lines of, man, too bad, like feeling for Doc. I'm excited. I'm still excited that he's here. It's 3-0 Kansas City. All right, when we get back, I'll tell you the live bet that I took. Watch Kansas City go down the field, settle for a field goal. There's enough of a glimpse for me on this Chiefs offense going up against the Patriots defense. Now Brian Hoyer has the football. It's a crucial 3rd and 3 with 4:50 and the clock running right now. Hoyer doesn't look terrible. They didn't complete the 3rd down, but the ball was a little high. He doesn't look horrible. He doesn't look like he's all over the place and nervous. He doesn't look like that backup quarterback from Necessary Roughness. I think it was Palkey or something like that, where he got in because Scott Bakula's character wasn't playing, and he drops back and basically runs to the ref. Blow the whistle, blow the whistle, blow the whistle. Brian Hoyer is not that guy. I'll tell you the live bet I placed. Also, we have to look at the Falcons and Packers game, especially because no Devontae Adams. What are the odds? Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler, presented by Cure Auto Insurance.
Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler. Now.
320.
Yeah.
Traffic jam on the Schuylkill westbound University to south. That's where roadwork is on the right lane getting by. Further west, heavy glad with the Conshohocken and the Vine Expressway westbound. Watch for delay between the Parkway and the Schuylkill merge. 95 southbound, a little slow south of Cotman to Bridge through the ongoing work zone. Watch for an accident lower Moreland, Philmont Avenue at Maple Road. Traffic's being directed around the accident scene. Large total traffic.
This report is sponsored by Napa Auto Parts. With thousands of locally owned Napa stores across the nation, chances are that wherever you call home, they do too. So whether you stop by your local Napa Auto Parts store, a Napa Auto Care Center, or visit Napa online, you can count on Napa know-how.
Miller Lite is celebrating home gating all season. Look for the secret text word for your chance to win a prize pack, including a big screen TV. Go to Top of the Hill Beverage in Chester Springs to pick up your case of ice cold Miller Lite. And to find out how to enter, must be 21 plus. No purchase necessary to win.
There's no better place to get in on all of the football action than with DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app. To add to the excitement of Week 5, DraftKings Sportsbook is bringing back their can't-miss offer. DraftKings Sportsbook is giving all new users the chance to receive a sign-up bonus up to $1,000. On top of that great sign-up offer, DraftKings offers great odds boosts every Sunday to help you make it rain. Download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code BRACE when you sign up and get up to $1,000. That's code BRACE to get a sign-up bonus.
Okay, I'm sorry. So how long is our next break?
Only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older. Pennsylvania only. In partnership with Meadows Racetrack and Casino. Bonus
5 minutes.
Gotcha.
$500. Deposit bonus requires 25 times playthrough. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
I saved big money with the Progressive Home and Auto Bundle, so I finally bought that new set of golf clubs. Watch out, fairway. Here I come.
This is not a real testimonial. Sure, customers can save big with Progressive, but your other expenses won't just disappear. Are those clubs going to help you when the hot water heater? It's like your money is better spent on golf lessons.
Time to go shoot the course record.
No, but maybe time for a reality check. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
All the good stuff. Yeah. Rufio keeps you on top of pop culture.
With the Billboard Music Awards less than 2 weeks away, more performers have been added to this year's telecast. Demi Lovato is set for her first performance post-breakup and is expected to give a world premiere performance of a new tune, possibly the just-released Still Have Me. Also added to the awards show are Sia, who'll perform her latest Courage, and En Vogue, who'll celebrate their 30th anniversary with their classic Free Your Mind. They joined previously announced performers BTS, Alicia Keys, Bad Bunny, Luke Combs, and Post Malone, while Garth Brooks will also take the stage to receive the 9th Icon Award. The 2020 Billboard Music Awards, hosted by Kelly Clarkson, airs October 14th on NBC.
All right, and that's what's poppin'.
I'm Rufio on iHeartRadio.
Sorry, we're back.
All right, so it's 3-0 right now, and as mentioned before we broke, the Chiefs moved down the field and were able to get a field goal. Patriots, on the other hand, had a big 3rd down, could not convert the 3rd and 3. So with 4:27 remaining, Patrick Mahomes actually just converted a 1st and 12 from his own 2, it looked like. Edwards-Helaire with the catch and run. So Chiefs, 1st and 10. It's early still. First quarter is running down. I got them at plus 11.5. It was immediately after the field goal. In fact, it dropped. It dropped. And the reason why is outside of the Chiefs getting a huge play and not even marching down the field, but getting a huge play, there was going to be some value lost there simply because the Patriots played them tight and held them in that first drive. So right away, value was dropping. Now we'll see, because even still, the Patriots are going to get a chance to respond once the Chiefs, and we assume the Chiefs are going to score again as they're moving it already. Sammy Watkins with another big grab. So they just keep getting first down after first down. And Newey's right. You don't see teams run nearly as much as what Cleveland did against Dallas, and you're not going to see that tonight. That's for damn sure. Not by the Chiefs. I mean, my goodness, they just one after another. When we came back, they were just as the music started. They were on their own 2-yard line. They're now on the Patriots, 40? Another big 12 to 15-yard gain, this time by Kelce. Clyde Edwards-Helaire first moves the ball, first down. And I'm talking about as a catch by Mahomes. Then you had another catch from Mahomes to Sammy Watkins. And just now, Travis Kelce. And this is not a bad defense. They're just playing like one now. And you love it because at this point, there might even be an open window here that you can create to kind of hedge. If you can find one, maybe the Chiefs, and I don't know how they're going to be bet down at this point, based on how effortless this has been, just moving the football right down the field. They get a big stop. That was a big stop in retrospect now. It's back up to 13.5, but watch. If they get a stop and if they hold them, penalty, just watch right now. This thing will drop down to at least 11.5, back to 11.5, if not 10. So that is the gamble right now. And already we've seen offensive penalties are the ones that are derailing drives. Everything else has worked in offense's favor. You don't see as many penalties thrown, and the ones you do, 4 out of 5 seem to aid the offense. Oh, well, you didn't get that pass down the field. Don't worry, defensive holding, defensive pass interference, something that's going to help you out, something that's going to be a pretty big change right there. That alone has been a difference. And now it's 2nd and 15. 1st and 15 due to the false start. Mahomes just runs it out of bounds. No loss, no gain. You're one stop away now, depending on what they, and Andy Reid's going to throw the football the next 2 times. You're one stop away from 3rd and long. And at that point, a very reasonable scenario where you've just held them to another field goal. Already it dropped to 12.5. If you wanted to get in 13.5 when they were pushing and knocking on the door, but if you're waiting for the Chiefs to drop, now would be the time to kind of just sit and monitor. Now would be the opportunity to kind of just sit around and see what you can do. Look, the Patriots defense is not a pushover. The Patriots defense is not a defense and not a unit that gives up a ton of points. Circumstances aside, they don't get lit up. And in this case, they just got a big stop. And right now, it's going to be 3rd and 15 to where if 15 yards, granted, it's not a lot for the Chiefs, but it's a lot for every other team, it seems. It's going to stop, and it's a field goal. Now, all of a sudden, 6-0 with the ball back seems a little more manageable. 3rd and 14 as Mahomes was actually able to get a yard on that scamper out of bounds. Now, it's just a matter of getting a stop. It's that simple. All the time in the world to throw the football, you would think, all right, well, is he able? Nope, and he's not. It's a step out. Just like that, the value is lost. Just like that, it went from 13.5 points, and we'll be back up in a second as the books scramble to update this. We went from the Chiefs offense moving it down 3 big plays, 4 technically if you go back to the run. Opened up with 3 passes by Mahomes, like it was not each pass going over for 10 yards, resulting in first downs. And then they gave it to Edwards-Helaire on the ground and 1 carry over 10 yards. You're thinking, wow, this is just way too easy. A penalty, disruption, and 2 straight times Mahomes under some pressure after having some time the second play, but 2 straight times in which Mahomes had to tuck it, pick up a yard just running out of bounds, or 6 or 7 yards for the field goal. It's a pretty big stop right there, and it's back down to 11.5 as predicted. Pretty big stop right there by this Patriots defense, who, again, was able to move the football. What did we say, 10-3? Something along those lines. We could see like a low-scoring first half. Talked about this in the first hour. Easily a low-scoring first half in which the Patriots defense plays well, gets a stop or 2, and they're holding on to the football and controlling it to try and keep it away. Goodness sakes, just keep it away from Patrick Mahomes. That's it. Just try. You've got 5 healthy running backs. Chances are you can find at least 1 guy to break through on Spags' defense. What a way to win the first quarter, too. 6-0 off 2 field goals. Tough break for anybody who took the Patriots thinking that they could jump out here, especially with, 4 running backs. They put Michelle on the IR. My mistake. If Brian Hoyer and the Patriots can take advantage of those stops, those 2 stops so far in this first quarter by the Patriots defense, move down the field, they haven't really had the ball much at all. Now, granted, the flip side is the Kansas City Chiefs, when they do have the ball, move it so fast down the field, it's like they didn't have the ball long. So forget time of possession or anything like that. You're never going to see that really equal out when it comes to the Chiefs and their level of success. It's more about plays run. And even then, they probably run a little less. Man, Brian Hoyer he's not good. Not a good quarterback. This game's over. This game is just over. What was I doing? Unbelievable how bad this guy is. This game is just, it's not even worth watching. When does the next game come on? 9 o'clock? I have to wait an hour and 10 minutes? Granted, I have the line change with John Jansen coming up next, but really? Brian Hoyer dropped back, had an open receiver. This made Carson Wentz's accuracy look 10 times better than what we've seen for the first 3 weeks of the season. Made week 2 Carson Wentz look like Dan Marino. That was a terrible interception, and it really wasn't even a bad decision. It was just, this is what scares me about Hoyer. It was a good decision to throw to the open receiver, but he missed the guy by 5 feet. The ball was overthrown the receiver's head to the point in which a defender 4 feet behind him, all he had to do was just jump up. Oh, that was a bad interception. You'd have to think just how much life and hope do you really have right now? I don't. 11.5 points. I might have to double down on this and just see what I can get on the flip side after that interception. I wonder how much that's. Oh, it's 15.5 now after the pick. 15.5. Why not? There's no way Brian Hoyer, and technically it's 11.5 if you want to look at what's up, or 9.5, pardon me. I could do math at one point in my life. You already have to factor in the 6 points on the board. Is 15.5. Man, I hope you see that somehow. If you're listening right now, consuming this program, however you are, just take a second. If you're driving, heading back home, wherever it may be, or on your way out, wait until you get to your destination and then check that pick out. Look at that interception. It'll be all over social media if it isn't already. That is the type of pick that just deflates all hope. You can't do anything after that. Really? What are you left with? Zero hope. If you're a teammate of Brian Hoyer and you see that interception, you're thinking, I can't do anything now. There's just no way. You give me the football 50 times, Rex Burkhalter, James White, one of these guys, because at this point, Brian Hoyer is a liability. And it's not totally fair to him because he just walked into this position. But this game is over. Officially over. I don't know how they cover a 15.5-point spread. I might even take them just to take them. I got nothing else. 11.5 is cooked. I know that. What else do you have? Boy, if you're Dan Quinn, how nervous are you right now? If you're Dan Quinn, you just saw an improbable situation go down where a head coach / general manager was fired 4 games into the season, and that head coach, general manager successfully, and I love Newey's term, conned the ownership group into consolidating power to give him all of that, and on top of it, sign off on trading away one of the top 3 wide receivers in football. A situation that you thought Bill O'Brien was close to bulletproof in, he's out. And if you're Dan Quinn, you're thinking, I might get fired tonight. I might get official word not to even come in tomorrow. And if you're Thomas Dimitroff or if you're Arthur Blank, if you're anybody along those lines, how do you not do that? How do you not okay that decision? Costly fumble right now, and Patriots have on the surface just recovered. Look at that. Awful interception by Brian Hoyer. Indefensible interception by Brian Hoyer. Patriots get the fumble back as the Chiefs, was it Kelsey who put the ball on the carpet immediately? Ooh, Chiefs give up the ball. Start of the second quarter. Brian Hoyer is back in business. Unbelievable. No, Sammy Watkins, sorry, not Travis Kelsey. What are the odds? We'll take a quick break. Final 15 before John Jansen comes your way. Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler, presented by Cure Auto Insurance.
Dan Patrick, 9 to noon.
Brett Brown joins us.
Colin Cowherd.
450.
Okay.
Yours are amazing.
And the Daily Ticket with Sean.
And then how long is the
Ray
last
from
break?
3 to
3?
6 p.m. Only
4?
one place you can find that.
All ears to it.
Right here on
236.
Abramson Cancer Center. Learn how Penn is advancing cancer care at penncancer.org. Hey, Philly, DD Perks members score a $1 medium, hot, or iced coffee every Eagles game day when you order ahead on the Dunkin' mobile app. Eagles fans run on Dunkin'. Participation may vary. Limited time offer. Limit 1 per member. Exclusions apply. The pandemic has changed a lot, but this election, AARP Pennsylvania wants to make sure you and your family know your voting options so you can make your voice heard. Learn more at aarp.org/PA votes. That's aarp.org/PA votes. Paid for by AARP.
You like your burger medium well, your peanut butter crunchy, and your mattress firm. It's the little things that make you, you. And you deserve a Medicare plan that fits your unique needs. That's why United Healthcare is offering more plan options than ever, so you can find just the right plan for you. Call 1-800-362-8715. That's 1-800-362-8715 to get Medicare with more. Remember, Medicare annual enrollment ends December 7th.
Everyone knows even good people fall on hard times. Your credit cards get maxed out, and you get behind on your taxes. Unfortunately, the IRS is not as understanding, and they won't stop until they collect. They have the power to take your paycheck, freeze your bank accounts. Even your home or business could be at risk. It's simply not worth it to take on the IRS by yourself. You need to call the experts at Optima Tax Relief. When you call, be sure to ask about the Fresh Start Initiative. It's a special IRS debt assistance program that could save you thousands, even tens of thousands if you qualify. Optima will immediately provide you with a team of professionals who will fight to protect you from the IRS, ensuring you get the best possible outcome. The Better Business Bureau has awarded them an A+ rating, and you will too. So put the hard times behind you and call Optima today for a free consultation.
Call 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840. 800-354-2840.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
I saved big money with the Progressive Home and Auto Bundle, so I finally bought that new set of golf clubs. Watch out, Fairway. Here I come.
This is not a real testimonial. Sure, customers can save big with Progressive, but your other expenses won't just disappear. Are those clubs going to help you when the hot water heater dies? Also, it sounds like your money is better spent on golf lessons.
Time to go shoot the course record.
No, but maybe time for a reality check. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
We saved big money with our Progressive Home and Auto Bundle and used the cash to take a family vacation.
To Hawaii.
Who's up for a luau?
Yay!
This is not a real testimonial. Sure, customers can save big money with Progressive, but not enough to go to Hawaii. They'll probably use it for things like the mortgage and groceries, or even a travel magazine, so at least they can see pictures of Hawaii.
Aloha!
Yes, say hello to those beautiful Hawaiian beaches in that magazine. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
Right now at the Home Depot, all Frigidaire induction cooktops are not only beautiful, they're 50% off. Frigidaire induction cooktops are more precise than gas, more efficient than electric, and right now, they also come with free delivery. If cooking is an art, consider this your new canvas. All Frigidaire induction cooktops, now 50% off, only at the Home Depot. How doers get more done. Valid through October 21st, U.S. only.
iHeartRadio is the #1 choice for music, radio, and podcasts, all in one. No one makes it easier to hear everything you love in one free app.
I'm checking out 24/7 comedy at least once a day. You gotta laugh, right?
They always got the right music.
You can find everything you're looking for.
I got my stations with me in my pocket.
It's a melting pot of good music right there together in one place.
If you're not one of the tens of millions who have the app, download iHeartRadio for free today and start listening.
iHeartRadio.
I'm Lorraine Ballard Morrill. Here's what you need to know at this hour. President Trump has left Walter Reed Medical Center, returning to the White House this evening. The decision to return to the White House, where 19 members of the Trump administration have tested positive for COVID-19, comes as those close to Trump have sent mixed signals about his condition. On the one hand, the White House physician has consistently offered an upbeat assessment, but also disclosed Trump has received therapies normally reserved to have severe COVID-19. Campaign spokesperson Tim Murtaugh says Trump plans to participate in the October 15th presidential debate to be set in Miami. I'm Lorraine Ballard Morrill.
Yeah.
All right, so the Chiefs still up 6-0 right now. 12:46 left in the second quarter, as we have another game an hour from now, which is going to be nice. Trust me. Granted, you won't have Davante Adams, but that's kind of like a little equalizer, if you will. You know, if you really look at where this game was beforehand, when Davante Adams was hopeful that he would play, and he's out, just so you know. So you still have time. You still have an hour right now to flip over from Adams to Julio. But this game was expected to be Packers get up big, have a lead, Falcons follow the game script, get a bunch of hollow numbers to mount a little bit of a comeback, and then at the end, Packers win somewhere like, 45-30 or 34, something like that. Win convincingly. If you were paying attention, you'd see that there wasn't really any stress on the Packers at any point to lose this game. It was just, well, Atlanta plays really well from behind because they have a ton of talent at the wide receiver position and a quarterback who is accustomed to throwing the football 50, 60, 70 times and would welcome that in Matt Ryan. But now without Davante Adams, you think, yeah, okay, it's a little different now. It's just a little change. Unfortunately, if you've played running backs already in any DFS tournament, you can't sub Jones in, who would be a really good option. If you're just playing like captain mode tonight, I would think Jones would be the guy to go because he's going to get a lot of activity. And you know that the Packers, especially when Adams is out for whatever reason, Packers love to go to their running backs, give Aaron Rodgers a nice little break. In fact, that matches up exactly right and on the line with what Green Bay loves to do. This is great. We never have a game this early. During the week, a football game? Only time we ever do this is when the NFL opens up the regular season. Now, I get the conversations that'll happen as a result of the circumstance due to Cam, Chiefs player, due to the circumstance of two guys testing positive and the need to delay this game. But this is doable every single week. And spare me you can't overlap on prime time, anything like that. And the Chiefs with a bad penalty right now just gave the Patriots a first down after a really bad penalty. That's going to extend this drive. I'll take it. You're going to need points somehow, and you're going to need them to be able to move the football down the field, and it can't just be a couple of screen passes to James White. They're going to have to do at some point. Brian Hoyer is going to be asked to throw the football again. And that's where I start to hold my breath, even with this 11.5 points that I got early on. It's gone back and forth a little bit, but it was the impatient early play of the night. And now watching New England try and get back down the field here. Even a field goal does me well. First play, first time as I've had a chance to talk to you tonight with this game going on. In 53 minutes, the Patriots are in Chiefs territory. It's taken over 15 minutes of game time, technically over 18 minutes of game time just to get into Chiefs territory. Here we are. Just don't blow it, man. That's all I'm asking, Hoyer. You got this guy number 11 out there. Just throw him the football. How difficult is that? I love Spags like you love Spags, and he was great here. He was great in the media after, and he's just a great dude. But you can get to this Chiefs defense. And look at the big run by Rex Burkhead. I'm telling you, this is a four-headed monster. It was a six-headed monster when you had a healthy Cam. Now it's a four-headed monster. Anything to run that clock, anything to take time off of the clock, anything to keep the ball away from Patrick Mahomes. And that's why that penalty, that stupid penalty of hitting a guy late out of bounds, is going to turn into something costly. They're already in field goal range right here. I love it, man. After that interception, you can't blame Josh McDaniels at all, right? After that bad, just terrible interception that Brian Hoyer threw, no defense on that ball whatsoever. It was all Hoyer. There was a window open for that receiver to get the ball, and instead, he just completely missed the guy. Now it's basically handoff, dunk, handoff, dink, screen pass, toss. That's it. I don't even think Brian Hoyer has necessarily dropped back and looked downfield. He's just rolling out. First time that he's actually looked downfield. Everything else has just been everything in front of him, right in front of him. It's 3rd and 11. Still, at 9:40 in the second quarter, I'm okay with a field goal here. Just give me the field goal. I'm not going to get upset now that the Patriots couldn't get a touchdown. They'd be lucky to get another field goal the way in which this game is moving. But that was a really impressive drive. Granted, it took a penalty, a big one. But that's what's happened now in the NFL. Offenses, even bad offenses, have been aided by a lot more defensive penalties, where the officials at the very least have just been in tune and ready to call a lot of hands and a lot of grubbing like that. I just want to see here before we hand things over to John Jansen at the top of the hour for the line change. And thanks to Newey Scruggs, thanks to Deja for producing. We are all back after the Rodney McLeod show. So that's 6 to 7 tomorrow. We're back from 7 to 9 as we are each and every Tuesday. 43-yarder. I just want to see Nick Folk pound this thing between the uprights, and then we can hand things over to John. Feel a lot better right now. There you go. Brian Hoyer was not asked to do much. And that's going to be the game plan. Bill Belichick just looking over to McDaniels, say, see that? Copy and paste that. That's all we can hope for right now. John Jansen comes your way next on the Line Change. I'm back Tuesday, 7 to 9. What are the odds? Fox Sports Radio, The Gambler, presented by Cure Auto Insurance.
It's the Daily Ticket with Sean.
Thank you.
Thank